Dave wanted to
Yes.
speak during this.
Yeah, they've been on the phone. And anyway, I have to give a motion. And I had a long motion, and I'm not going to do that. I decided against that after talking to Kevin. This is what they wanted me to write down and give a motion. This is all part of the motion. They said that the former superintendent of our schools said that when the school districts of Sac and Wall Lake got together, consolidation, they would bond in a type of marriage or partnership or sharing. With this partnership and sharing in mind, this motion was offered, and they said that they'd like an East Sac superintendent or central administrative office located in Sac City with at least one secretary or other administrative staff assisting in the business office, and this will be the main East Sac School District office or the main office every other year. And that's the motion that I'm going to give. And it's a tender issue with many, many individuals. They think that we are going to be in the same category as some other schools around here that have not had the same office. And we also know that the central office was where all the meetings will eventually be, and they don't like it that they will not be here. And so they say that it should be here every other year at least, so that we at least have this continue on. And that's why I'm doing that motion for them. So.
Before we can discuss that, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. The board meetings, have you discussed those? We continue to move those around from community to community?
Yes.
That's been already taken care of? Okay.
And I guess my concern is a secretary leaving. I know Terry isn't only, and I've talked to Kevin about this before, Terry here is not just a secretary. She is the nurse when Kit's gone. She's the lunch lady, or ticket lady. She's everything. I mean, I'm in this school a lot, and she's everywhere. She's supposed to be 6 people at once already. And Jennifer can at least, answer the phone when Terry's being the nurse or doing this or doing that. That is my concern.
Help with Terry.
Any other discussion? A couple of the things down here are fixing the elementary fence and stuff, and which we are sure will be. Oh, okay. Part of the routine maintenance, huh? But okay. We have a motion on the floor. Let me make sure I get it straight. Your motion was to have the administrative officer back at least half the time with at least a secretary here. Rotate every other year, meaning, I'm not quite sure, meaning move everything. Okay, that's what the motion is. Yes?
Would there be any extra costs associated with moving the office back and forth every year? Do you know approximately how much that would be?
I don't, but it would involve, I'm thinking out loud, it would involve additional cost for keeping the office active with phone and internet and all that stuff, as well as manpower hours or womanpower to move physical files back and forth. So it would be substantive in my estimation.
So as you say that, then the phone number for the superintendent's office won't be here anymore, right?
The plan is to have an 800 number to the business office for the entire district.
I see. Okay.
And I don't know where we're at because we've got 2 phone companies from the north and south part of the district.
Maybe 3.
Or maybe 3. Yeah, who knows?
We've made a priority to 2 of those.
What's that?
We haven't talked with 2 of those, but haven't done anything. We're only a month away now.
That would be, I think an 800 number would be helpful, I think, I know the number down Lake, even the river best, so.
Well, so how many times will you be coming back? Will you be traveling? If your main office is in Lakeview now, when will you go to Wall Lake and the middle school and our elementary?
Yeah, it changes by week, Melissa, but my goal is to be in every building at least once during the year. And then what my plan was for here is to maintain my part of the office and hang here. I don't know what that means, but, you know, schedules are different, to keep a presence in the north part of the district. And John and I have also talked about John also keeping some regular hours up here.
Since I became a we've talked that we'd probably pick a morning, whether it's a Monday morning or Wednesday morning or whatever. And I would just rotate middle school, Sac Elementary, Wall Lake Elementary. So once every 3 weeks, I would spend the morning.
Yeah, and
it's legit, I get that.
For convenience and stuff, yeah. And I've tried to do that during the course of this year. It's just where you hang your hat when you start out. I don't think my opinion, which I guess I've been pretty vocal about before and will be again, the notion of moving an office back and forth each year does not make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense to me financially, as well as just certain element of common sense in all honesty. It doesn't make sense to me from a business perspective. I don't think that's practical. If the concern is board meetings, you know, we've already been on record with the ESC board saying we'll continue to rotate board meetings from school to school. I like that, and I think it's great to be in all 4 schools, and we're not moving away from that whatsoever. And again, for the record, my recommendation to the ESC board, this is where this went since we're talking about after July 1st, is based on one factor, and that's convenience because of location, or less inconvenience by making the central office located centrally in the district. And as I put in an article before, I did mention there were lots of factors that could have went into that recommendation. You know, SAC is the largest of the city within our district. SAC is the county seat. WLBA has more student enrollment. There's lots of ways to look at it. To me, the common sense approach to this was to look at where it would be most centrally located, which would be the most convenient, or as I termed it before, the least inconvenient for the least amount of people, or the most amount of people, is in Lakeview. And that was the logic. And I'm sorry, but I think it's sound logic.
I think the most important thing is that you will maintain a presence in all the buildings. I mean,
I think that's,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's not necessarily the office, it's the presence
Yeah.
that seems to be important.
And I guess,
understand.
yeah, so, I mean, I guess it's, whatever we do tonight can be changed immediately following. So I guess maybe our concerns, we shared our concerns with you.
Right, I understand. And I fully intend to keep a presence in all the buildings, because my best days are the ones when I'm out in the schools, not in my office. I would attest to that.
My best is too.
Well, I think with that, in the past, we've needed a superintendent around specifically for issues at the middle school and stuff with behavior and stuff like that, where we haven't had quite the problem this year that we have in the past. So I think that was... Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Have you discussed all you want to discuss on this?
Well, really, this is a Sac City issue. I mean, it's made at a Sac City board meeting, that sort of thing. But the truth of the matter is that it's irrelevant, because David made a motion that tries to govern the new district. And if this motion was going to be made, it should have been made at an East Sac County board meeting. It's inappropriate at a Sac City board meeting, just as it would be inappropriate at a WLBA meeting. Therefore, I think you should recall your motion.
Dave?
No, I can't do that. Later.
Okay, then I guess we'll have to take a vote on the motion as it is, as stated. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Opposed?
I don't know about the other, every other thing. I'll make it, yeah,
Vote in favor of the motion. As long as you maintain a presence in all the buildings, I would vote to oppose the motion. So I know I can.
The motion fails.
The last 4 years, nothing's done. So Kevin and I have talked about it. I'm going to make a motion so that it has to be done. And what is supposed to be done is supposed to be taken down, lubricated, maintained, and brought back up again.
Do you want to make that in a motion, or do you want to make a recommendation that they include these as the things that need to be addressed?
I'll make a motion that they should address this summer. More football field. And we'll fix in and painting.
Do we know how much it's going to cost to fix the fence? Do you have any idea?
Which fence are you talking about?
The fence goes all the way around here, and if I take off, just take a look on the back side of it over there by the softball field. It's really beginning to fail. And there are some other portions down there. But really, the posts that they put in there, that I helped put in there, were not strong enough to take care of the wind. Maybe last night was a good example. So I have no idea. I didn't take it over there to see if the wind took care of that too. Maybe what they need to have every once in a while is you put in stronger posts, and that's a job. But I don't, something's got to be done because the posts are bending and the top portion's coming off. And it's also beginning to get a little bit rusty and flat. But you've got to do something eventually. It's just got to be done. So that's the motion.
Give a second on that, I'll comment.
Is there a second? I'll second it so we can discuss it, but go ahead.
Okay, the fence is on, it's probably not going to happen this summer because of the schedule that we have, Dave. It's been put on the long-term list of things which will be developed. Well, our plan is to have a 5-year plan so that we know what's going to be happening. So it's on the list already. As far as the lights, I talked to Bruce last week after we had talked. It's supposed to be sometime in July that the company comes out. My understanding, and if I get the history wrong, I apologize, but I'll attempt to get it right. There was somebody in town that did that for many years while they were in business, and came over and just did they lowered the lights. When that ended, then the company that actually sold the lights didn't do maintenance. And so, yeah, it probably they haven't been brought down and serviced in a while. That's supposed to happen in July. The company that sold the lights to us now provides that service, so it's on the calendar. I don't know what date that it's supposed to be, but clarification, at least based on Bruce's experience and his contact with the company, it's stainless steel. There really isn't the lube other than getting them up and down. That does get lubed, but the lights don't. What they do is they reset them according to patterns, and that's what's scheduled to be done already. So,
can I make this motion so that amend it so that it can be done in the future? Sometime in the future. Yeah, and it's done every year. Making every year.
If the company is coming, or you?
I'm not sure how to do it, but talk to Kevin and whoever would like to talk to him.
So if both companies are scheduled to come, do you want to amend the motion or recall the motion as long as they know that we need those two things addressed?
I'll amend the motion. He knows what has to be done and he can arrange it to be done.
do that.
Yes.
Thanks for recognizing me. When SAC Community School stops existing 1201 on July 1, what is the legal obligation of the completely different school, East Sac County, to honor any motions made by the SAC board tonight?
Neither the WLBA nor the SAC board can bind the other board.
That's my interpretation.
So any of these motions would be just symbolic tonight?
That's right.
Fair enough.
The motions, as I told earlier, they hold no water.
Symbolic's a good term, Curtis.
But
the projects that were brought up they're on the docket.
He's satisfying the wishes of the electorate who elected him, and he is still serving on the SAC board. So if he wants to make these motions before the SAC board, he has every right to do that. But they do not bind the East Sac County board.
Thank you for that answer.
So, okay, if we're leaving your motion there as a symbolic motion to address these two items, it's been moved and seconded. Are we ready to vote on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the last thing is that I talked to Kevin about this before, and there is a strong feeling that there should be a vocal concert and an instrumental concert in this auditorium every year. That there are people feeling that that's where it should have been initially anyway, and they can't understand why it was anywhere else. And I don't know what to tell them.
Dave, have you been to all of the vocal and instrumental concerts this year?
No.
Have you been to any of them?
No.
Where were they held?
Lakeview, I understand.
Every one of them held in the auditorium at the middle school.
The vocal is. And the only time that the band doesn't play there is when there's a space issue.
Yeah.
People are misinformed is the reality. And we're not stupid people, and please take that back to the group that you represent, because
that's the one I think.
There is an auditorium, and we're smart enough to know we're going to put our kids where it's in the best interest of the kids. That's going to drive us.
Okay, we got that one behind us.
And the band is that, when they move all the bands around, I can't remember what you call
The
it.
band, parade,
It's true.
Parade of bands.
It's too big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have all the bands, and that's been at the high school gym, but otherwise, I was at that middle school how many times, the auditorium for concerts. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you were there.
Then they want the homecoming coronation removed back here, and Kevin and I have talked about that also, and they thought it was supposed to be here. And I said, I don't know anything about that.
Just an update on that is that the way the process works is that the high school student senate, student council sets that. We've had a discussion with them that there's a desire to have it in the evening for parents, just like what we talked, so they can attend. And frankly, it goes back to the kids. It's their homecoming. My guess is it's going to end up in the evening because that's what they're going to decide. But again, kids ought to drive it. It's their homecoming.
It's kind of nice to have it when everyone can attend, and those people that are working can attend in the afternoon. So.
Well, and just for the record, too, the logic, because I asked about this issue, because it's been brought up before, is that the reason that it was moved during the day was the only time that we put all of the new, during the whole grade sharing, all of the K-12 kids together. It's the only time that we did that. We're not whole grade sharing anymore, and I'm not sure it served the purpose that was intended, but there was logic to that decision, too, is my point. But it's the kids.
Okay, the next thing is to have commencement here every other year. Is that something we should discuss or should not?
You know, I think it's a size issue too, the Lakeview gym.
It has to be in a gym. It wouldn't fit in the auditorium with 70-some graduates. The gym is usually full. I guess anything's open for debate. My initial response is that they've gone to high school for the last 4 years in that building. That's the building that they ought to graduate from. That would be my off-the-cuff comment. But it can't be in the auditorium, which is too big.
Okay, and then about the last one, we have a high school dance here once a year.
To my knowledge, the only high school dances that we've had this year were homecoming and prom. There may have been one other dance. Dances aren't something that we do. Now, there were several middle school dances, that's fundraisers, that were held in Lakeview.
there might have been one at the rec center too, in town.
I think you're right,
There
Marty.
was
Thank
one.
you.
Yeah, so there were middle school dances, in fact.
Okay, the last one has to do with using the rec center and having swimming and weightlifting down there, physical education, and woodworking and industrial tech, which of course has to do with laboratory situation. We talked about that before too.
Sure we have.
In the middle school?
And it's a worthy discussion to have with the programs. Exploratories serve two purposes. One is to let kids explore, you know, and two is that they also serve as feeder programs for the high school. And I asked the same question when I first got here, and the priority for whatever reason was having agriculture. And so that's not a discussion that we're going to resolve today, but it's a worthy discussion to talk about industrial tech at the middle school. It is. What was the other one?
Swimming and weightlifting and physical education.
Well, when you're talking curricular things that can be talked about, I will say that I had a discussion with the middle school and elementary principal and said figure out when we need to use the rec center for PE next year so that we don't ever have inside recess in this building. And they have to put the schedule together to do that. As far as the swimming part, there's some inherent problems. I'm not ready to commit to that yet. Inherent problems that requiring certification of teachers, which is doable. We can fix that. Probably the biggest problem is the size of the pool for the size of our PE classes. If we were to go to having PE classes that match up with sections of students, which would be maybe 20 kids, we could get serious about it. But when we're staffed in such a way that we have 40 kids in PE, there's no way that we can swim. So those are great ideas, Dave, is my point, but there's some logistical things that, unless we commit differently, aren't going to happen right now.
I heard a comment just in the last week. They said the last individuals that took physical education, please correct me on this, was somewhere during the late 80s when the school was, or was it?
I took it.
You took it?
Till 86, but
Yeah.
chapter.
And they said it disappeared sometime when the schools got together, and I don't know.
What disappeared?
The swimming unit.
I think the swimming disappeared before the schools got together.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't want to say.
There was quite a while when the pool itself didn't
function right.
And
Yeah.
they had to close it and do some maintenance and whatever, and that was at least a year
My
or
son
two.
never swam.
So it was closed for the rest of the year. I don't think it ever resumed after that.
Would there be an insurance issue on that?
There's been a lot of issues,
Not
certification
everybody.
issues, but
Would have to.
the biggest issue
Oh,
is,
it's 2080.
as I see it, is it was real heavy when everybody was going to school there, you know, but now when you've got kids off-site, you have to get them over there, get them into swimming attire, have some kind of a class, get them out of swimming attire, dressed, back to classes. You're gonna have to take double period PE.
They always did it. Chuck, they even did it with classes of 100 and some, but it was a matter of walking from one building to the other and back, and they did it in the wintertime. I don't know why they had swimming in the wintertime, but they did. It's a heritage of Greece, I remember that. But,
Well, I understand the point.
It was worthwhile.
I understand the point of having an indoor swimming pool available, and it's worth some additional discussion. And nothing's going to be resolved today because there are other logistical things that have to be talked about that cost money.
It certainly emphasized the swimming and the extra lifeguards at the city pools too, so, yeah. But anyway, and the rec center does have good weight rooms, and maybe the middle school could make use of it without crowding. Okay.